Hey, welcome to the live stream. I appreciate you checking it out. I'm going to be talking about the situation in Chicago and whether you think the federal government should send in troops. I'm going to share my 2 cents on it, and I'd love to have your input. Right, I learned a lot from comments and people watching my stuff, sharing knowledge and information. And stay tuned for maybe the next live stream I'm going to do. We'll won't talk about current events, but I want to do a something like Shane Vibes Truth, did the other day, where he said, "Hey, share your favorite documentary or movie or book or whatever." I think it was just kind of documentaries, and it's fantastic. If you're following him on Instagram, I recommend you go check that out, because he's got all the good ones, right? All the comments laid out all the good ones. So next live, I'll do that. Favorite documentary. Truth or realization. Okay. But today I've got some videos I want to share with you, what's going down in Chicago. And, my feelings on it are this. In general, I never look to the federal government to solve problems. I just don't see them as good problem solvers. And because we know they have a history of deceiving us, right? They deceived us with weapons of mass destruction, right? There were none in Iraq. Now there are millions of unalived Iraqis, including the 500,000 children aged 1 to 5. Um, they deceived us in 1913 heavy when they passed the Federal Reserve Act, right? Or they allowed themselves to be deceived. I don't like saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be said. I can't tell whether politicians are sometimes corrupt and allow themselves to be corrupted, or whether they're just not bright people. My understanding, as I look into what happened in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act, there could have been, like they do all the time, they do them around Christmas, around the holidays, when many are out of the session or not there, they could have pulled a fast one. They meaning the bad people that run this world, the bankers, the politicians, the billionaire philanthropists, the people who have an agenda, right? The evil people that run the world, or that have a lot of power in the world. Let's just put it that way. They could have pulled a fast one with the Federal Reserve Act. Either way, the damage is done. The damage is done. So I'm not too keen on the federal government solving problems. Let's jump in and let me share one of these videos with you here. Lots of people want the gov to go into Chicago. I don't blame them. It seems like a mess there. It really does. I do not blame them. The problem is it a Hegelian dialectic? Is it a type of scenario where it normalizes federal troops on the ground in these cities? That's where I lean. Let's watch this video, and then I'm going to share some comments with you as well.
Well, Donald Trump just announced today that he is going to be sending the National Guard into the city of Chicago after there were 54 people shot this past weekend, with 9 of them being killed.
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone.
What gets even crazier is that Mayor Johnson is trying to blame red states for the gun violence problem that's taking place in Chicago. Like, clearly, this black man hates black people and wants black Americans to just keep getting killed because he truly does not care and he just wants to pass the bucket onto Republicans, which I think is absolutely crazy because Chicago has always been Democratic ran. The gun violence problem is not anything new. I worked in these neighborhoods, okay? People behave like animals in these neighborhoods. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It is not normal. Just this year alone, there have been almost 700 shootings. So, I don't know. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you support troops being sent into the city of Chicago, or is Trump crossing the line here? I don't know. I don't know what needs to be done, but something needs to be done because it's out of control.
Yeah, to answer her question, I do not support troops going in. I I don't support troops going anywhere just because I know that how they roll. What my experience with the federal government is this, and I gained this from knowing about Iraq. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Uh, there are again unalived Iraqis now. And then you find out that Saddam Hussein, right before they went in, wanted to sell his oil for gold, and that's a big no-no to the people who run our politicians. Same thing happened with Libya. Oh, miraculously or coincidentally, more appropriate, right before the United States government went in and brought freedom and democracy to the Libyan people and destroyed the eighth wonder of the world with what my understanding is plutonium artillery, the aqueduct system Gaddafi engineered and built to bring water to the Libyan people. There were no rivers in Libya. All the water's underground in a certain area. So he engineered this aqueduct system. They destroyed that. That's a son of a what. And so, again, whenever I see the federal government saying we're going to help you, I just think back to what Reagan said back in the day. The government doesn't solve problems, they create them. Or more appropriately, based on what I see from my own experience, it's always a Hegelian dialectic type of scenario, problem, reaction, solution. They want total totalitarian control. They salivate at the mouth for it. That's all they've ever wanted, is they want to have everyone under their thumb. They want to take away all the freedoms, all the rights, all the things. What better excuse than, oh, we've got to come in and make you safe? And they always use safety, don't they? It's not safe there yet, right? People are being unalive. Now, I want to be clear. There appears to be a problem in Chicago. Let's be real. There appears to be a problem in LA. But like I said, there appeared to be a problem. They made it appear to be a problem in Iraq. They made it appear to be a problem in Libya. Not to mention, it is now also well known that the CIA was behind the Arab Spring. Hey, how you doing? It's no one over age, let's say 40, should ever take anything the federal government says at face value. Cui bono. This is what Christine Anderson, the European Parliament person, says. Cui bono. Who benefits? Who benefits when troops go rolling in? Right? Who benefited when troops rolled into Iraq? Who benefited when troops rolled into Libya? The only reason that they're starting to roll troops into the United States, from my perspective, is because they have already rolled troops all over this globe. They did it in South America in the early 1900s. They did it in the Middle East in, the last 20, 30 years. Smedley Butler, decorated Marine in the early 1800s, said he was a gangster for capitalism, that he was responsible for securing these nations for corporations and or the federal government. Right? I mean, how can anyone trust them after the long history of them doing this kind of thing? It's so wild to me. And so many influencers, I just watched part of the Angry Man's live stream this morning as well. And they actually begging for people to go in. They want people to go in. And I don't blame them. I used to be in this mindset, right? I just don't know why people go to the federal gov for any type of answers or solutions or, help of any kind. It's wild to me. They think they should go in. They don't understand that once you give the government a little bit, they're going to take a lot, right? You give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. I just don't understand. It's very strange to me. Let's see what some of these comments are saying. By the way, that was Morgan Ariel at It's Morgan Ariel, Ariel on Instagram. She's I follow her quite a bit. So comments here on her video that I shared. The CIA has dropped weapons into these inner cities for years to keep the violence going. I don't doubt it. That's how they roll. What was it that Obama did? Fast and Furious? That's how they roll. Let's see what else they're saying. It's not flesh and blood that we wrestle against. That's the part Democrats don't get. They are led by a negative spirit toward godly things. See, and here that comment goes to pitting left against right again. I don't think it's left against right. It's good versus evil, right? Left and right is the paradigm or the dynamic that they want people to see. they want us fighting against ourselves. They want us destroying ourselves. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing people he didn't exist. The second greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing people that, in my opinion, that the enemy is your neighbor, is that guy over there, etc. I don't buy it anymore, right? I don't buy it. It's not a left versus right thing. It's a good versus evil thing. And again, going back to, if you're over age 40, how do you not know that all of the wars are orchestrated by bankers? All of the wars are orchestrated by covert action. I mean, heck, the CIA is culpable, is responsible for 80 to 100 overthrows of governments. I mean, this is what they do. Is it that inconceivable that they'll put boots on the ground in Chicago, in LA, in New York, in Seattle, in all these different places, and make it appear, give the illusion that the problems are just naturally occurring? Anytime there's something going down, the first person I always assume did it is the Gov. I mean, come on. Or a covert action agency, again, that I equate as the Gov. People are waking up, but the question is, will enough people wake up in enough time to know who the bad guys are in the world and who the good guys are in the world, right? It's time to clean house. We want to be able to walk and enjoy life. See, that's what they always get you with. They got us with that during COVID. Remember, no one's safe till everyone's safe. Hey, you can come out of your house once everyone has this thing. That's bullshit, right? It's bullshit. Same issue where I live in Connecticut. Blue as blue and crime is rampant. This stuff could have been orchestrated decades ago. Here's another one. And if you're still living there, then I'm sad I told you to get out and come to Freedom, Florida. Come to Freedom, Florida, remember? The only reason I started speaking up, and I didn't want to, I don't want to make these types of, I don't want to talk about these issues, is that there's nowhere you can go in the States or America if we don't get a handle on the crimes that our politicians are committing on behalf of a small group of people. Use your imagination to imagine who that is. They're also causing problems in Gaza. They cause problems with Second World War, with the all the skirmishes. I think they're behind, what happened in Iraq and Libya as well. This person says it's just a psyop to condition the population for martial law when it happens. Amen to that. That's what I think it is. I think it is a Hegelian dialectic. I think it's a rich man's trick. P.S. Shout out to the fantastic documentary on YouTube. It's 3 hours, but it's one of the 3 documentaries. You see this, the Great Awakening Guide right there. That's all the best resources that I've discovered on my journey, all in one place. And in that guide, I have the top 3 documentaries. I call it a quick start for people who maybe haven't went down the rabbit hole yet. And Everything is a Rich Man's Trick is one of those documentaries. The other 2 are All Wars Are Bankers' Wars and The Mystery of Israel at stopworldcontrol.com/Israel. But those 3 documentaries will bring anyone up to speed very quickly. It's pretty common knowledge that all wars are bankers' wars at this point in time, even going back to Civil War in America, right? My understanding is there was meddling there, and there was, again, pitting people against one another. That's the pinnacle of the devil's work and his agents in this world, is to make you destroy your neighbor. And the next pinnacle is to make you destroy yourself, right? We see this going on, right? The battle is in the mind. It always has been in the mind. And the best warfare is psychological warfare, information warfare that makes you destroy your neighbor and or yourself. It's sinister, to be quite honest. And that's why I talk about these things. I mean, this comment is fantastic. It's just a psyop to condition the population. I agree with that 100%. Let's see. This person says, send in the troops. I don't agree with that. This person says, yes, I want troops in every dangerous city. Wild how people beg. This is what Hegelian dialectic does. Create a problem that makes people beg for the solution that they already want to do. They would love to just have troops in every city. They would love to have everyone on a lockdown. You can come out from between the hours of 2 and 4 and go to do your thing, but you got to go back on lockdown after that, right? Anyway, yeah, it's wild. Okay, let's see here. It says it's way overdue. Arrest that mayor also and arrest every single one of these animals that are killing innocent people. Yeah, I mean, see, they've got people. It's sinister how they control the minds of these people. Let's see. Yeah, there's some racist comments in here. I'm not going to read some of them. I will say this, it does appear that the Black community has been hit hard with a lot of psyops and shenanigans for a long time, and I feel for the Black community. And if you haven't seen the 20-minute clip from Uncle Tom 1, it's on YouTube. It's fantastic. They talk about this, right? It does appear that they've been targeted heavy for a lot of these things, and that goes back to what would that small group of people that is causing problems in doing things to Gaza, doing things to all the neighboring countries there, who's really the chosen people? Is it those people, or is it potentially the Black community? They've been targeted heavy by bad actors in our world for a long time, destroying the family, manipulating them into prison systems, right? It's sad. It's really sad. Let's see. You need to fix your attitude even when you're talking about things you support. I had the sound off to start and I thought you hated this. She does have a feisty attitude. I don't see it as a problem. I mean, who's not going to be feisty in these times? This person says, I fully support it, but what do they do with the scum? Execute them? It's, well, if not, what do we gain? All what I see is they're weaponizing people against one another. They're using, just like they're using human beings and flooding Europe and flooding United States, they're using human beings as weapons to destabilize and cause chaos and disorder. Remember, out of chaos, right? What is it? NWO. We don't talk too much about that here because we don't want to get the tickers on here, but that's their game plan. They will use and exploit human beings. Okay, let me cue up another video here. This one's interesting. This guy's saying there's not a big problem there. Let's watch this.
Yo, check it out, man. I'm in Back of the Yards. This is one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago. President Trump, we need help, man. It's out of control. Look, they selling shit. What the fuck, bro? There's a church. Oh my God, we are in danger. It's out of control here. Please, President Trump, every Mexican and lovely, beautiful African-American woman is begging you, send the troops. Send the National Guard. Look at, oh my God, 2 people walking down the street. We in fucking danger. Please send help. The Navy, the Marines, everybody, man. Green Berets. We need all those motherfuckers here. Chicago is out of control. Oh my God, look at people kicking it on a Sunday morning. And it's beautiful out here. Watch out, lady. It's dangerous. Oh my God, watch out. I'm trying to get out the hood, bro. It's crazy over here. President Trump, please help me, man. Yo, check it out.
So
man.
obviously a comedic take on what's going on. And this video was posted in, let me see here, August 24th. So just a few weeks ago. I don't know. Then I also think back about what happened in LA. It's sketchy. The piles of bricks, the burning cars, it's wild. Whenever there's a problem, I always think psyop, Hegelian dialectic, rich man's trick, just because I know the biggest, baddest, most troublemaking people on the planet are govs, and it's our gov. Again, I don't know how people don't look at them as the number one culprit, knowing their history. Weapons of mass destruction, financial collapses. Larry Fink was heavily involved in the 2008 derivatives collapse, right? Not only potentially causing and planting the systemic problems, but also fixing the problem afterwards. And everyone knows by this point that BlackRock is a super bad news type of situation. Let's see. Let's see what people are saying on that guy's video. There does appear to be a lot of shootings. Let's be real. There does appear to be a problem again, but appearances may not be what they really are. Again, going back to the small group of people causing problems in the world, their motto is, we will make war by deception, right? That event in early 2000, was that a great deception to pull us into the Middle East? That tragic event where those buildings came down, where 2 planes dropped 3 buildings? Maybe. We will make war by deception. If they did it over there, what's to say they won't do it in the United States? This is what people, I think, are slowly waking up to. Now, let's watch this other video, this gal talking about it.
So y'all still don't want to talk about what's going on in our communities. Somebody is going to fucking get hurt. Somebody actually did get hurt. And we need to talk about what is being pushed out of these homes. Black women,
No.
Why are you not paying?
Let me pause this and answer your question. Do you think people can pull together and survive this economy? That's a great question. I hope so. I hope so. But what it's going to take is a radical return. It's going to take a radical awakening, to be quite honest. And it's going to take people giving up what they love, right? Consumerism, bread and circuses, the extravagance of the American lifestyle. The way to survive it is to, from my understanding and my experience, is to get out of it as much as possible, because I do think it's going to get ugly. I do think it's going to get bad. Yes, so to answer your question, yes, I do believe, I have faith in people. I have to be optimistic. It's not always easy, but I have to be optimistic. But the way to get out of it, and I've talked about this in some other videos, the big things are extricate yourself as much as possible from all the systems, financial system, healthcare system, food system, and be as self-reliant as possible, and get consumer debt down as much as possible, and also own valuable things, including any kind of asset, because based on what David Rogers Webb says in The Great Taking, they want to sweep the assets. The dollar's no longer worth anything. And so they won't write a debt note in the American people's name and give to the, banker. The politicians won't write a debt note in our name, which is theft. It's thievery, and give it to Wall Street and corporations and all the big players, the financial people. Right now, then they'll sweep assets. So that's my thing. I feel anxiety for those with student loans and car loans. I think those people might not make it unless they have a big family. Yeah, I agree with you. As we move, and that's what I'm seeing with people that are making the videos, they're saying, hey, I'm working 2, 3, 4 jobs and I'm not making it. Right? That's what happens if their overhead is too high. This is what happened during the Great Depression, as I study that. The ones who were okay were the ones that didn't have any debt, right? So you're spot on. I feel for you. I get you. I feel you. The ones that made it were the ones that didn't have any debt. If you live like a poor person during a financial situation like we're in now, where who knows how high the inflation is going to go, right? Then you insulate yourself as much as possible, right? These are unprecedented times for Americans. And the challenge that I see is that some Americans don't want to admit that the truth of what's happening, right? They won't, because what happened to me when I finally realized the level of evil, the level of deception, the level of corruption in our country, it's a lot. It's a lot to take. It'll bring you to your knees, and you may shed a tear, and you may be like you are in anxiety and fear mode. But once you come out of that, and once I came out of that, this was a couple of years ago, and I realized what really was going on, and COVID woke me up big time. Then you realize, okay, what needs to be done, right? But I feel you. It can be anxiety inducing. The people of Chicago need help. The mayor has no desire to stop the crime. It does appear they need help. Yeah, you're 100% right. I agree with you. The only thing that I want to invite people to contemplate is, could it be a psyop? Could it be a Hegelian dialectic? Could the left and the right be working together to capture all of America? That's what I think, right? I think it's one big good cop, bad cop scenario. Or if you're a conservative person, let's talk to those people. It's dumb cop, smart cop. Joe Biden and or Gavin Newsom or the mayor of Chicago is the dumb cop, and Donald Trump is the good cop. Again, if you're a person on the left, Donald Trump's the dumb cop, and Joe Biden's the smart cop, whatever. Good cop, bad cop is what's going on, from my opinion. And what happens in that scenario? They're going to get what they want by playing this game. You know, this is the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. I no longer see a left versus right. I see puppeteers pulling strings of liberals and Democrats, liberals/Democrats, and conservatives/Republicans to orchestrate a scenario that makes it appear to the American people that we want more government control. We want boots on the ground. It's wild to watch, but I do see there is a problem there. The question is, why is the problem there? Is there any covert action agencies doing like they did like appears to have happened on January 6th, like appears to have happened in other situations in the United States, right? Again, the CIA, most people by now know they've been covertly arranging the change of leadership in countries 80 to 100, from what I understand, for a long time. Is it that much of a stretch that they are now orchestrating events in the United States to bring about a martial law type of situation? But it does appear there is a problem, 100%. I agree. Unfortunately, I didn't think this is something that we can vote ourselves out of. Someone have control of most of our government. I agree with you. It does appear that way too. It does appear that way too. You know, it's wild. And then you look at how I look back through history, because I spend a lot of my time now just looking backwards. I don't really spend, because you will know them by their fruits, right? If you look at how they behave, what's happened in the past, like what happened in the 2008 collapse, right? Like what happened in that event in early 2000s, and all the lies that pull our nation's army into war. I do think it is a big thing we're up against. Now, like I said, I have to remain optimistic, but it's hard sometimes. But the reality is, I think a lot of people they have got a big gap. They've got to bridge a big gap, right? Because we're all conditioned to look to the government for guidance. We're all conditioned. Some of us don't take the conditioning, or some of us have awakened to who really the problem is in our world, right? When the government and pharmaceutical companies team up, which are the two most corrupt, misleading, fraudulent corporations/entities on the planet, you got a big problem, and you're 100% right. Yeah, I just spend most of the time looking at history to know the future. I look into the past, but many people have a big gap to fill, where they got to wake up and go, hey, why after World War II, if we won the war, why did we have all these problems around the world? Are we really the good guys? Are the people running our country really the good guys? The other thing people I think have to realize is, there's good people in the United States, but it doesn't mean that we quote, we the people, have a good government, right? I always also tell people about Foster Graham's pyramid of control, right? Power comes top down. Ken O'Keefe said finance is the head of the snake, and I agree with that. All you got to do to corrupt someone is go offer everyone you see, hey, do you want to get rich and live a life of luxury and opulence? All you got to do is hose over 90% of humanity. Some people are going to take a person up on that deal, right? And then they'll just do whatever they need to do to get through their days. Probably not hard if you're sitting on the beach, living in the lap of luxury, right? How do you feel about ending the Fed, going back to gold and even crypto? You're speaking my language right now. I do want to end the Fed. Beyond that, I don't know what it would look like, because, again, finance being the head of the snake, the Fed being a private central banking cartel, yeah, 100%. I don't know how it goes, how we go back to that. But I'm a big fan of G. Edward Griffin. I'm a big fan of, Ron Paul talk about ending the Fed. It's a problem, and it's just the other day, and I'll probably do a deep dive on this topic at some point, but I want to make people who don't know aware of it, like you're probably aware of it, that the Federal Reserve, the charter for the Federal Reserve was to stabilize money, It's never been stable since they've had, it's another lie. It's another rich man's trick. And that'll help people realize. My whole goal is to help people awaken to what's really going on, and in a soft and gentle way, because you don't want to jar them. Yeah. Let's see here. But yeah, I'm all down with ending the Fed. And you say the Fed is just the scorekeeper of dollars. Yeah, it's problematic. It's way problematic. Think of any sports game. You need a scorekeeper. You don't have people playing the game keeping score. Yeah. I'm trying to wrap my mind around your comment. Scorekeeper, yeah. And years ago someone brought up that we don't really know how much they've stripped out of our economy, because we don't really know, because what the Fed does is give the illusion of stability, and they're able to now, and this is what David Rogers Webb found. He came onto this, I want to say maybe a decade or more ago. He found that the Fed has such an ability as they can give the illusion of strength in the economy, or move the economy in ways that are artificial. And he said, hey, that's a big problem. And at the time, people thought he was crazy. But now we do know that, right? They drop walls in and protect the financial collapses. And so the system never heals. And so this is what I go back to. Either the federal government and or the people they farm out these, regulatory agents to are stupid, ignorant, dumb, or they're deliberately trying to crash the system. I've now come to the conclusion, hard and fast, that they're deliberately trying to crash the system. They feign dumb. They feign dumb. The problem with unraveling our current financial institutions is it would be a lot of pain in the short and medium term, but quantitative easing and low reserve rates have caused bad inflation. I agree with you. Sadly, like I said, I'm optimistic, but sadly, I don't think people want to. It's like telling, they don't want to go through the pain. My friends that are life coaches tell me that when they go through their coaching programs, they're told 85% of people do not want to change. They never want to change. You're going to get, your target market is 10 to 15% of people, right? Or if you want to use Pareto's principle, 20% of people. 80% of people are going to go through life in a reactionary state. They're going to be like Carl Jung talked about, right? Living in an unconscious state and wondering or realize or thinking that it's fate, it's destiny that they're supposed to suffer in this way. That's what the reality is. And so this is how governments and evil people game humanity over and over and over again, right? So you're right. I don't think people want to go through the pain of stopping the bread and circuses, looking inward, meditation, consciousness, awareness practices, changing their diet, changing their whatever else, right? They don't want to know. They don't want to do that work. It's work. It's effort to get out of the matrix, right? You are 100% correct. It's the only way, though, and it's highly satisfying, as you're aware, right? Once you escape the matrix and you live when you think for yourself and you critically think about the world that you live in, you will be a happier person. Then what happens is, now the people that are still in the matrix, you have to watch out for them and the government, because this is what I go back to, is they're weaponizing people against themselves. They're weaponizing Americans against their country, right? It's wild, but you are 100% correct. I don't think people want to do that work. Let's see what else we say here. I lean more towards them being evil. Yeah, they are evil. That's my realization. The people that are running the show, that are running the country, for now, again, I remain optimistic. I have to. People are too focused on the Fed instead of Congress that creates the money. Congress create the money and decides for what they need to create the money for. Infrastructure. Yeah, I think it's a group effort, right? Just the other day, I was telling someone about the fact that Donald, I used to buy the lie that Donald Trump is going to help us. I bought that because, again, people want to believe that there's a hero coming. We've been conditioned, right? Oh, a Superman's coming, a Spider-Man's coming, whoever else, a Batman's coming, someone's coming to save us. We don't have to do the work. The reality is we actually have to do the work. We've got to change. We've got to do our homework, etc. So when they brought Donald Trump, which I now believe is the best rich man's trick ever been orchestrated on American people and or humanity, I bought that. Oh, he's not a politician. Oh, he's going to drain the swamp. Oh, he's going to do it. He's a businessman. Well, I now see he's another orchestrated trick. But they do. They want to look to a hero, and it's the money. Well, what I was going to say, my point about that is, big beautiful bill, BB666. Same thing as Biden's Build Back Better, BBB 666. You want to go further, and I get a lot of this from my friend Brandon Kroll on Instagram. Fight, fight, fight. F is the 6th letter of the alphabet. Why is all this BS so aligned with evil and the occult? Well, everyone has to answer that question for themselves, but you're right. Back to my point, the big beautiful bill, massive spending, right? It goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Either they're dumb and stupid. You don't spend massively when your financial house is on fire, right? A person who is having financial difficulties individually, they're not going to go and spend a lot of money. They're going to get their. This is why I now know 100% that they are, including Trump, orchestrating a financial collapse of the United States. Order out of chaos. This is 100% where I'm at. And you're right. They're all working together to manufacture problems for America and or the world. Huge inflation is great if you own things that in the stock prices and real estate, but for the average working person, they just get more poor. You are 100% right. That's exactly right. LA Prepper, I love your, I probably watched some of your videos on YouTube. Do you do YouTube stuff as well? Let me know if you're still in the chat. That is exactly right. And that's what's pissing people off is they're unable to own things. And this is where you get BlackRock and Blackstone coming in, buying up real estate, buying up assets, even now going into what I understand small businesses and buying those. They're gaming us hard. And the reason they're able to do that is they've dumbed down the masses to such a degree with the public education system and media and propaganda that then people suffer and they don't know why they're suffering. They don't know why they can't get ahead. Well, they can't get ahead because the system wasn't engineered to get ahead. How we doing, commercial advisor? Yeah, it's wild. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up here now. I appreciate all the feedback. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate you. And good luck out there, my friends. Stay safe, and if you haven't picked it up, go pick up the Great Awakening Guide. It's a free, not even required an email. It's free, all the best resources all in one place. I'm at the 4th version of that. I need to do another version pretty soon to put more information in there. That also has 41 of my favorite ways to get out of the matrix, out of the system. I think it's 40. It's either 31 or 41. Things like be self-reliant, study history, gather knowledge. Knowledge is power. All of the good things that you probably know a lot of already. That's my contribution to the cause, because people would always ask me, what do we do? What do we do? We know there's a problem. What do we do? Like some of your comments here today, get as much out of the system as possible, because that's how they control. I mean, long story short, my assessment is live like an Amish person. Amish people are going to be just fine if and when the system totally collapses. They're going to be like, hey, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya, right? Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.